All right, here we are coming down to the final stretch of Act 3. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to add your slides to the projector screen behind you, as well as a few more magic tricks for making the illusion even more believable. So let's jump in.
So, you probably have realized along the way how you could improve your shots, how you can improve your performance, and that's natural. Every time you get in front of the camera, bring it into your editing room and put it together, there's always ways to improve. And even now I'm looking at what we've done for Green Screen Magic, and there's tons of things I would actually do to improve it. And that's just the nature of the game. That's the nature of this industry, and that's just the nature of this process. So you're probably looking at a scene now similar to what I have here as Act 3 Final, the one you would actually watch in the course. Here we have our slides still to put in. We'll talk briefly about the third shot and start putting some of the final touches on. Great, so let's start. So here we are. One thing that I am looking at when comparing the original one that I've created and this one that we've started working on is right away the darkness behind the character. So that's something I want to focus on. So if we go into our background, what we can do is come up to our background layer and over at opacity, turn off the animation and then just lower your opacity down. And that's just going to turn the lights down a little bit, which right away makes the screen and the red carpet pop. And when we bring it back, here we go. Now everything's looking quite nice. Now, if you do that, I'm actually noticing that my subject here is looking a little bit on the oversaturated side. So that's something I would want to switch. You know, every little change that we make ripples out into the rest. And it's just little by little, we just keep kind of plugging away, and wherever the inspiration takes us really is how I tend to edit. So that's something that we could work on. I'm not going to focus on that now. You know how to do that now. Great. But by reducing the brightness of the background, it's going to make our subject and slides pop out even more. I might even want to reduce the opacity of the projector screen as well, just a smidge. And that's how I had it in the original, just slightly transparent. I kind of like that look as if it was a very thin, expensive screen, kind of special and fancy. It reduces the brightness as well, helping our subject pop. Great. So now that I got that out of the way, let's start focusing on the slides. So a big part of creating any sort of learning material online is some sort of visual aid to assist in the learning process. And this is a very big factor towards full brain learning, activating both hemispheres of the brain. So we're not just talking to our students, but allowing for the right side of the brain to be activated too. So let's start putting our slides in. Here I've got my slides all set up. We've created them previously. Some just pictures to illustrate the point. Some also have some words and diagrams. So we want our first slide is the future of education right here. I'm going to actually drop all these slides in to my Green Screen Magic project. Here we go. So we've got Act 3. I'm going to do a new bin. Call it slides. And I'm going to put them all in there. I'm not going to necessarily use them all today, but this is the idea. We've got our slides. Great. And now I'm just going to find the first one, plop it in. Now you can see it's way too big. So we're going to resize it. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Too much. Still too much. Okay. There we go. It's a little bit better. Now I can see. And I'm going to place that just right. I think that's actually a pretty good job. Now I'm noticing here I'm going to actually change that opacity of my projector screen. Not digging how that is right now. So we're just going to put that back up. Cool. And to make this look more like it's being projected onto a screen compared to a really beautiful, crisp, colorful image, I'm coming over to my opacity, turning off the animation so we don't get caught with that, and bringing it down to about, well, let's see, 90, 95%, just kind of fades the colors a little bit. There we go. And that's pretty much it. So when we're placing slides into our scenes, they're going to be in different spaces depending on the background. Sometimes you might just want to put a window in a window wherever you are, or create some sort of projector screen to place it on. This blend mode is a lot of fun sometimes, depending on what you want to do. So you can click on here and try a few different things. And I'm just going to use my mouse wheel and move down. And you can see some of them are pretty normal. Some of them are pretty extreme. And it really just blends the one image with the one behind it. Ah, there's a nice one. So you can see this hard light kind of creates a really nice bright atmosphere. If I was using that, I might actually bring that down even more. Kind of makes it look like a projector. Keep trying some other ones. Well, that's normal. I think that's just fine for now, but at least you know this blend mode exists. So try it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Great, and then I'll just come through.
Is the future of education.
And find where the next slide goes.
And I believe that the future...
There we go, future. So here's the next slide. And if these slides are all the same size coming out of a program that you might have created them in, then you can easily just copy and paste the attributes. And bada bing. Makes it really easy and quick. So you just kind of go through
to the artists and entrepreneurs
and start putting your slides down just in the spot that you wish.
of our world. You see, there's a very big...
Next slide.
See, there's a...
Let's try, see if does that work. Okay, so that one wasn't the same size, so I'll just resize it myself. And remember, if you push the control button, you can micro move the image. Just like that.
You see, there's a very big problem right now in one of the fastest growing industries on the internet.
Cool.
Very big problem right now in one of the fastest growing industries on the internet. The dropout rate for students going through online courses is somewhere between 70 and 97%. Now think about it. If
Great, so let's find, I have a picture here of a college student or professor. Okay, just keep moving things into place. That's the general idea. You can spend as little or as much time as you wish here to get it just right.
97%. Now think about it. If colleges and universities...
So using my audio, I can see where I come in here.
Now think about...
So I want that slide to actually come in just before, as if he was clicking it.
7%. Now think about it. If colleges and universities had dropout rates like that, they would all be shutting down.
Okay, so you get the idea here. We're just kind of putting our slides in, creating a slideshow. When we come back over to our complete, now this long shot is going to have the image all in here, so we can start working with creating some motion. Now the thing is, because we've been putting it in the long shot, we don't now we won't have it showing up here in our extra shot. So what we want to actually do is add that separately. Now I was playing around with adding it all just into the background, because this background nested scene is shared between the long shot and the close-up. But since the timing of our two takes is a little off, it wasn't quite working for me. So the way I did it here in my final would take, there we go, I would take the slide that I want in that scene and I would place it really large right up here. So you can see it's really big, because when we zoom in it would be really big, and I would place it right up top and sit it there. So therefore it would come to the next scene and it would be the same slide. Now if I was zoomed in and the slide changes, let's see where that happens. Here's a good example. So the slide changes while I'm in my close-up.
Folks, humans don't consume
So I still just attention to detail change that,
media how we used to.
because then when I come to the next wide angle, that's where it would be. So that's pretty much creating slides. Pretty simple. So just focusing on getting your timing right, making it natural, blending it into your environment using the opacity and your any sort of blend mode that might work for you. And then let's just quickly look here at our third shot. If you've chosen to do that, the only thing I'm really going to say, because it's, you know, you really already have now the skills to apply the third shot and place it. I would use it sparingly and only in certain spaces. I think I've only used it 3 times to give a little bit of the effect. And after the splash screen comes in, I kind of went through a long shot, close up, and then right away into the third shot, so therefore the viewer gets used to the shots that we're presenting to them, and then starting to go through. So if you use it too much, it's going to get a little old. Plus, since the audience is not moving, if you hold there too long, it starts to look a little unnatural. So just a few words on that. Great. So that's pretty much the objectives to this lesson. Just looking at getting the slides in, darkening the background to allow for our foreground to pop a little bit more. And just a few words on this third shot. Again, it would be just the same way to compose it as we did with the close-up, and then just choosing little specific spots that you might still need to fix because the close-up and the long shot weren't able to match for whatever reason. Now the third shot's going to be also a little difficult if you're using a podium, because we don't have a podium from this angle. So if that's the case, maybe going online, if you really want to do the third shot and you're using the podium, just get creative. That's pretty much what I would do. I would start just going and trying to find podiums that match. And that's usually the limitation too to a lot of our creativity at this stage, is trying to find things for angles that that match. So I'll leave you there. See you in the next lesson.